The screen glows in the dark. Your thumb hovers over the banking app icon. You tap it. The loading circle spins for a second. Then the number appears, $42. You stare at it. You close the app immediately, as if hiding the screen could force the digits to reset. But the number stays the same. You worked 40 hours this week. You traded 5 full days of your life for that balance. And yet, by Tuesday, the account is back in the red. It is a familiar, heavy sensation. You look at the transaction history, scanning for where the money went, but the list is just a blur of small, necessary drains. It feels like running a race where the finish line moves every time you take a step. You are putting in the effort, you are showing up, but the math never adds up. The rent is due, the groceries are gone, and the cycle repeats. You are not just tired, you are stuck. My name is Jesse. I spend my days dissecting the hidden mechanics of how we handle money. I have sat exactly where you are, watching the screen, wondering why the math of my life never seems to align with the effort I put in. I realize that personal finance is rarely about the numbers on a spreadsheet. It is about the wiring in our heads. I am here to pull back the curtain on the psychological traps that keep us running in place. If you are someone who works harder than ever, yet finds your account stuck at zero, you are in the right place. We are going to dismantle the habits that keep you broke, one by one. This is not about quick fixes or empty promises. It is about changing how you perceive every dollar that passes through your hands. If you are ready to stop being a spectator in your own financial life, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you are ready to start the work. Let us get into the real reasons why your bank account stays empty and how we change that starting today. Here is the core of the problem. Most people are convinced that being broke is strictly a math problem. They believe that if they just earned $500 more each month, everything would be fixed. They look at their empty account and see a lack of zeros. They look at their paycheck and see a lack of digits. But look, that is a trap. If you assume that more income is the only missing piece of your puzzle, you are ignoring the foundation you are building on. You could double your salary tomorrow, and if your habits remain unchanged, you would simply be broke at a higher level. It is a persistent, dangerous myth that keeps people waiting for a promotion that will never solve their underlying instability. You are looking for a miracle in the form of a raise, but the math is not the enemy here. The enemy is the assumption that money is the solution. We need to stop treating your bank account like a calculator and start treating it like a reflection of your daily choices. Let us look at the hard data. According to a recent study by the Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something they own. Think about that number. A single car repair, a minor medical bill, or a broken appliance is enough to push nearly half of the population into a corner. They are forced to reach for a credit card, take out a high-interest loan, or liquidate assets just to survive a minor disruption. This is not a failure of the economy. This is a failure of behavior. When you are one flat tire away from a financial crisis, you are not living a life. You are managing a constant, low-level emergency. Most people assume this is an income issue, but the data tells a different story. It reveals a pattern of living that leaves no room for the unexpected. If you cannot handle a $400 hit, you are not just broke, you are vulnerable. We have to stop blaming the paycheck and start looking at the decisions that happen between those paychecks. It is time to dissect the habits that keep you in this fragile state, because until you change your behavior, that emergency will always be waiting for you right around the corner. Now, let us get into the mechanics of your financial drain. We need to talk about the first habit that is quietly dismantling your progress: the invisible subscription trap. Open your banking app right now. Scroll through your transactions from the last 30 days. You will likely find a streaming service you haven't watched in months, a gym membership you stopped using half a year ago, and an app subscription that renews automatically while you sleep. These are not big, noticeable purchases. They are silent, recurring charges that bleed your account dry without you ever making a conscious decision to pay them. You signed up for convenience, but you stayed for the inertia. You think these are just small, insignificant costs, but they add up to a massive hole in your budget that you are ignoring. Every time one of these services hits your account, you lose another piece of your financial agency. You are paying for the privilege of being a passive participant in your own decline. It is time to stop the bleeding. You might be sitting there thinking that $10 is just the price of a lunch or a movie, and that it could not possibly change your life. That is exactly where the math proves you wrong. Let us look at the numbers. If you take that same $10 you waste every month on a service you do not use, and instead invest it at a modest 7% return, you are not just saving a $10 bill. Over 10 years, that money compounds into over $1,700. Think about that. You are not just losing a small amount of cash, you are actively throwing away a significant sum that could have been your safety net. You are literally paying for the privilege of staying poor. It is easy to ignore a $10 charge because it feels invisible, but your bank account does not ignore it. It registers every single cent. When you treat these recurring costs as meaningless, you are ignoring the fundamental engine of wealth building, compound growth. Every time you let that $10 transaction slide, you are choosing to hand over your potential wealth to a company that does not care if your balance hits zero. Now, let us pull back the curtain on why these charges exist in the first place. These companies are not providing a service. They are harvesting your apathy. They design their systems to make it effortless to sign up and intentionally difficult to cancel. They rely on the fact that you will prioritize your comfort over your bank balance. When a corporation sets a price point at $10, they are not picking a number at random. They are targeting the exact threshold where your brain stops treating the expense as a decision and starts treating it as background noise. They want you to view that charge as too small to matter. By keeping the cost low, they bypass your critical thinking. They know that if they charged you $100, you would audit the bill instantly. But at $10, you just let it slide. This is a calculated strategy to keep you in a state of financial passivity. They are counting on your fatigue, your busy schedule, and your desire to avoid the minor annoyance of managing your own finances. Every time you ignore that charge, you are playing right into their hands, confirming that you are a reliable, predictable source of recurring revenue for them, while your own financial goals remain stalled. The real danger is not just the money leaving your account, it is the silence that follows. When you automate these small, recurring expenses, you effectively delete the decision-making process from your life. You stop asking if the service is worth the cost. You stop evaluating your priorities. You stop looking at the transaction entirely. This is where the psychological friction vanishes. By removing the need to manually approve these payments, you have also removed the only moment where you might have said no. You become a passive participant in your own financial destruction. Every time a payment clears without your active oversight, you are training your brain to ignore the flow of your own resources. You are building a habit of indifference. You are essentially handing over the keys to your financial future to an algorithm. When you lose the habit of questioning your spending, you lose your agency. You need to reintroduce friction into your financial life. You need to force yourself to look at every single charge, to feel the weight of every dollar. Now, let us move to the second habit that keeps you stuck, the lifestyle creep illusion. You finally get that raise you have been chasing. You see the extra numbers on your paycheck, and almost immediately, your brain starts rewriting your needs. Suddenly, that older car feels like a burden, and that basic coffee shop routine feels like a downgrade. You start looking at luxury upgrades as if they were mandatory requirements for your new income level. You tell yourself, I worked hard for this. I deserve a reward. This is the trap. You are not just spending money. You are actively sabotaging your own growth. The moment you receive more, you find a way to spend more. You justify these new unnecessary expenses by pointing to your hard work, but you are actually just inflating your cost of living to match your new earnings. It is a psychological pivot. You stop seeing your income as a tool for security and start seeing it as a license to consume. By immediately absorbing your raise into your daily expenses, You ensure that your net worth remains exactly where it was before. You are not getting ahead. Think of your financial life as a bucket. You are working harder, picking up extra shifts, and chasing that promotion, all in an attempt to fill this bucket with water. You believe that if you just pour more in, the level will finally rise. But here is the reality you are ignoring. Your bucket has a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, the level stays exactly the same. This is the leaky bucket trap. You are focused entirely on the input, obsessing over how much you earn, while completely neglecting the output. You think the solution is a bigger bucket, so you push for more income, but the bigger the bucket, the faster the water drains. If your expenses rise in direct proportion to your earnings, you are not building a reservoir. You are just increasing the volume of your own waste. You can triple your income, but if you do not address the hole, you will still be staring at an empty container at the end of every month. Stop trying to outrun the leak. Stop pouring more in. It is time to find the hole and plug it. Most people get the definition of wealth completely wrong. They look at a luxury vehicle or a designer watch and assume the person behind the wheel is wealthy. That is not wealth. That is just spending. True wealth is not what you earn, and it is certainly not what you show off. Wealth is what you keep. Consider two people. The first person earns $200,000 a year, but they spend $205,000 on status symbols and lifestyle maintenance. At the end of the year, they are $5,000 in debt. They are not wealthy. They are a high-income pauper. Now, look at the second person. They earn $50,000, but they live on $40,000 and save $10,000. By the end of the year, they have $10,000 in assets. Mathematically, the person earning $50,000 is objectively wealthier than the person earning $200,000. Wealth is the gap between your income and your consumption. If you cannot widen that gap, your income level is irrelevant. You have to stop measuring success by the size of your paycheck and start measuring it by the size of your savings account. If you are not keeping a portion of what you earn, you are not building wealth. You are just working to fund someone else's business. Now we arrive at the most dangerous lie you tell yourself, the tomorrow fallacy. You look at your empty account and promise that you will start saving when you make more money. You tell yourself that once the next raise hits, or once the bonus arrives, then you will finally start budgeting. This is not a plan. It is a psychological defense mechanism. You are creating a future version of yourself that is magically more disciplined than you are today, all to avoid the immediate, uncomfortable work of tracking your spending right now. You are avoiding the pain of the present by projecting your responsibilities into a hypothetical future. But here is the cold truth. Money is a tool, not a reward. You do not wait until you are fit to start going to the gym, and you do not wait until you are wealthy to start managing your cash. If you cannot face the reality of your bank statement today, you will not suddenly develop the courage to face it when the numbers get larger. That discomfort you feel when you look at your budget, that is not a sign to stop. That is the feeling of growth. You are using the promise of a better tomorrow as a shield to protect your bad habits of today. Stop waiting for a miracle to change your income. Start changing your behavior now. Let us strip away the fantasy that more money solves your problems. You think that if you had $5,000, you would suddenly become a master of finance. You are wrong. If you cannot manage $5 in your pocket today, you will never manage $5,000 tomorrow. Financial discipline is not a skill you suddenly unlock when your balance hits a certain threshold. It is a muscle you build in the dirt, starting with the smallest possible unit of currency. Think about it. If you treat $5 with indifference, you will treat 5,000 with recklessness. The scale of the number does not change the nature of the behavior. If you are sloppy with a coffee purchase, you will be sloppy with a mortgage payment. You are currently failing the test of the $5, and yet you expect to pass the test of the 5,000. That is not how reality works. You are not waiting for a bigger paycheck. You are waiting for a change in your own character. Every single cent you possess is a reflection of your current capability. If you cannot control the flow of a trickle, you will be swept away by a flood. Master the $5 now. or accept that you will remain a slave to the 5,000 you never managed to keep. It is time to stop acting like a victim of your own expenses. You have been paying everyone else first, leaving yourself the scraps of whatever remains at the end of the month. That is not a financial plan. That is a surrender. You need to treat your savings like a non-negotiable bill. This is the radical shift that separates the broke from the builders. Before you pay the landlord, before you buy groceries, before you pay the electric company, you move that money into a separate account. You treat your own financial future as the most important creditor you have. If you wait until the end of the month to save, you will always find a reason to spend that money on something else. The system is designed to take your money the moment it hits your account. By paying yourself first, you are reclaiming your agency. You are saying that your future stability is more important than the immediate demands of your bills. It feels uncomfortable at first because it forces you to prioritize your own security over the convenience of others. But that discomfort is exactly where your power lies. Make the transfer the moment the paycheck clears. Pay yourself first or stop complaining. This is the only way to break the cycle. You must stop viewing your bank account as a pool of resources for others to drain. When you pay yourself first, you are building a wall between your labor and the world that wants to consume it. This is not about having extra money at the end of the month. It is about ensuring there is money before the month even begins. Open a separate account. Give it a name. Call it your freedom fund or your security reserve. The moment your paycheck hits, move that percentage before you even look at your rent or your utility bills. It will feel wrong. You will feel the urge to keep that cash accessible for emergencies or immediate desires. Ignore that urge. That feeling is the exact symptom of the financial sickness you are trying to cure. By forcing this scarcity, you are training your brain to live on what remains. Move the money now. This single, mechanical action is the pivot point. It is the difference between a lifetime of chasing and standing on solid ground. Let us be clear about why you are still in the red. You love to tell yourself that the system is rigged, that the game is stacked against you, and that the finish line is permanently out of reach. That is a convenient lie. It is the perfect excuse to stop trying. The truth is much harder to swallow. You are not stuck because the world is against you. You are stuck because you are playing by the rules of the people who need you to stay broke. You are following the playbook of the consumer class. You are chasing the status symbols they sell you, signing up for the subscriptions they design to drain you, and inflating your lifestyle the moment you get a raise. You are a participant in your own financial destruction. Every time you justify a useless purchase or wait for a miracle, you are validating their business model. They do not want you to save. They do not want you to master your money. They want you to be a spectator in your own life, watching your balance drop while you hope for a change that never comes. Stop blaming the system for your own lack of discipline. You are the one holding the pen, and you are the one signing away your future. Stop waiting for a miracle. It is not coming. There is no windfall, no sudden promotion, and no magical shift in the economy that will solve this for you. You have been waiting for the stars to align, but while you wait, your bank account continues to bleed out. You need to stop being a passive observer of your own decline. Start by tracking every single cent that leaves your pocket. Not just the big bills, but the small, invisible leaks that you ignore. Open your statements. Look at the recurring charges. If you do not use it, cut it. Cancel the streaming services you forgot about. Kill the gym memberships that serve only as a monthly tax on your laziness. Stop inflating your lifestyle to match your paycheck. Every dollar you spend on a status symbol is a dollar you are stealing from your own security. This is not a suggestion. It is a surgical necessity. Take the pen, take the app, and take control of your ledger today. You are the only one who can stop the drain. Hit that subscribe button and let us get to work. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine yourself 10 years from today. If you keep living exactly as you are right now, what does that version of you look like? Are they still checking their banking app with a knot in their stomach, hoping the balance has magically grown? Are they still working 40 hours a week just to remain in the red? That future version of you is standing right there, begging you to make a change. They are watching you waste money on subscriptions you do not use. They are watching you inflate your lifestyle the moment you get a raise. They are watching you choose comfort today at the cost of their security tomorrow. Every time you ignore a small expense, you are actively stealing from that person. You are building a cage for your future self, brick by brick, dollar by dollar. Do not let them down. The choices you make in the next hour, the next day, and the next month are the only things that will determine if they are trapped or free. Your future is not a distant concept. It is being written by the way you handle your wallet right now. Stop the bleeding. Start building the life they deserve. The choice is yours. You can close this video, return to your old habits, and watch your bank account stay at zero. Or you can decide that today is the day the cycle ends. Stop being a spectator in your own life. You are the architect of your financial reality, not a victim of it. If you are ready to stop waiting for permission and start building your own security, hit that subscribe button right now. Join a community that values wealth over status and discipline over comfort. We are done with the excuses. We are done with the invisible leaks. It is time to get to work. Your future self is waiting for you to take the first step. Click the button, commit to the process, and let us start building the life you actually want. This is the end of the beginning. Now, go make it happen.